question going into WrestleMania 20, and it pretty much was a blowout. The match sucked. And I think with the reviews the first match got, this is why a sequel is wanted by wrestling fans. They want a better match with a better conclusion and obviously more intensity and more emotion put behind the storyline that would go with Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. But who out there does not think that Goldberg is going to be returning? He's one of the featured wrestlers of this year's 2K17 video game that you pre-order. The game on WWEshop.com. You can get Goldberg, have the chance to play as him on your PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PlayStation 3, and Xbox 360. Good thing is backwards play is still available for the WWE video game, but if you've had anything indicated to you over the past at least 5 years from the previous 5 installments of the WWE video game, either the 2K series or even the yearly installments, the video game, you're pretty much giving away who's going to be returning within that year. Sometime between now and 2017, we will see Goldberg, if not before WrestleMania 33. There's going to be something big happening for Goldberg, and even if there isn't something big happening for Goldberg, people think he will come back, have 1 to 2 matches just for the sake of being inducted into the Hall of Fame for this year's WrestleMania 33 festivities the night before, taking his rightful place in the Hall of Fame, which holds names like Sting, Hulk Hogan, and so on. Goldberg deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and no doubt years down the road he will be. If not now, the time is right to put Goldberg in the Hall of Fame, and I think the conversation has been an all-time high given those chants from fans in the main event of SummerSlam this year. The focus was not on Randy Orton and Brock Lesnar. I appreciated the video packages and the history that we saw between Randy Orton and Brock Lesnar, talking about their history and Danny Davis's OVW. I know Danny Davis very well. I know a lot of people who worked in OVW around the same time John Cena, Randy Orton, and Brock Lesnar were coming up. Even Dave Bautista was down at the same time. Competition was at an all-time high. You had names like Shelton Benjamin, Charlie Haas trying to make names for themselves. Carlito Colon was getting ready to come up. I mean, you had a lot of great names. Chris Masters was another one, and I think that with Randy Orton, John Cena, and Brock Lesnar all coming in at the same time, with that came a lot of promise, and I really appreciated how they put that in the video package, talking about the history of Randy Orton and Brock Lesnar and how they had never had a match on pay-per-view until this past Sunday. Was it really worth the 14, 15-year wait? That we had to wait to see this match? I don't know. John Cena versus Brock Lesnar, their series of matches, obviously more history, more emphasis on that, and more matches that Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton have had more emphasis over the last 14, 15 years. Randy Orton said something really interesting too in the comments in the video, and that's probably why Brock Lesnar overreacted the way that he did. He said that Brock Lesnar decided to leave because he didn't like people. And I appreciated how Brock Lesnar decided to leave because he didn't like people. At least he was very outspoken about that, and he didn't kayfabe his reason for wanting to leave and go elsewhere. He said, I'm leaving because I simply don't like the WWE, I don't like the people in it, nor do I like entertaining people. So Lesnar said, fuck you, and left the WWE. And I really appreciated how Lesnar was not kayfabing the reason why. In all reality, he left the WWE. He knew John Cena and Randy Orton were the faces of the company, and he knew that he was not going to be the face of the company as long as those names existed. Now that he's back, 8 years later, he's a former UFC champion. He just recently returned to the Octagon for the first time in 5 years after suffering a serious stomach injury which put his UFC and MMA career on hold. And now he's simultaneously going back and forth, so you cannot help but respect that for Brock Lesnar. And what he did to Randy Orton may have been disgusting in the minds of a lot of wrestling fans, but at least he did win the match. He did what he said he was going to do, and that's the thing Lesnar has done ever since his return over the last 4 years, is do what he said he was going to do. Show up, fight somebody, and beat the living Jesus right out of them, and that's probably what he will do in this match with Goldberg. Don't be surprised if Goldberg versus Lesnar happens on, say, SmackDown Live, or a SmackDown Live pay-per-view, or an event like WrestleMania or SummerSlam, which obviously you would think is where it would happen. Don't be surprised if Brock Lesnar wins this match because of his previous loss to Goldberg and their history detailing only one thing, and one decisive thing, not just the stunners to both Lesnar and Goldberg that went down courtesy of Stone Cold Steve Austin as the guest referee, but how Goldberg has that one outstanding victory over Lesnar, and Lesnar is 0-1 against Goldberg, and that could lead to a series of matches if, say, Lesnar ties the series by, say, WrestleMania or SummerSlam of 2017. We could see 3 or 4 matches between Lesnar and Goldberg to determine who is the all-time greatest out of the two, and they have been argued as some of the greatest wrestlers of all time, which I really do appreciate. And if you don't realize what's happening here, go back and watch the 2K17 pre-release trailer. Of course, there's not much detail on the video game, which you would expect to see But there is a teaser of who could be returning by 2017, if not before the end of this calendar year, which we're only about 4.5 months away from seeing. So we could be seeing something big happening, if not before WrestleMania 33, by WrestleMania 33 for 2017. Go back and watch the pre-release trailer for WWE 2K17, which is available for pre-order now at WWEshop.com. I highly recommend this video game for the showcase mode. It is incredible. Along with that, my career available for the next generation video game systems such as PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, where you create your own player and start from the NXT and go all the way to WWE, and they are expanding that every single year with additional members added to the roster. Last year's video game was said to have had the best roster of all time, and it really did. Have the best rosters for all video game consoles. Even PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 had a chance to see one of the best rosters of all time, which included Jake Roberts, Diamond Dallas Page, the Vaudevillains, the Ascension, the New Divas roster was in there. We had Lex Luger was even in the video game, Vader, Sting, one of the best rosters ever. Goldberg, Brock Lesnar were some characters in there as well, and Goldberg now the featured character this year for the WWE 2K17 release, obviously giving it away that we're going to be seeing him return. How would you like to see Goldberg return on an edition of Monday Night Raw, be it that it's the first live show every week, or would you rather just see him show up on SmackDown in support of Shane McMahon, given his history being the chairman of WCW following the purchase on March 26th in 2001? There are a lot of ways this one could go, and I'm sure there are a lot of diverse opinions when it comes to the return of Goldberg and who Brock Lesnar will be facing next. And here's the question we need to know, given that I haven't seen the fallout of SummerSlam 2016, which I will be getting around to doing over the next couple of days or so. We need to know when Brock Lesnar is going to be competing next and who he's going to be competing against. I think that is the biggest question in the fallout of this year's SummerSlam. We don't need to know what the future of Finn Balor is, because obviously we know he'll be having a rematch against Seth Rollins, who feels he deserves a rematch for that Universal Championship. We don't even need to know what the future is for Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler, because we know rematches are looming at as early as the next Raw and SmackDown split-branded pay-per-views. What we need to know is who is Lesnar going to face and when is Lesnar going to compete again, because the last time we saw him, of course, was at SummerSlam, and given the months in between Lesnar competing ranges anywhere from 4 to 5 months, we need to know when this match is going to be happening with Brock Lesnar featured in it and who Brock Lesnar is going to be facing. And I would imagine there are a diverse amount of opinions that will be coming forth for Goldberg versus Lesnar if it happens. If not that, before that, we'll see Brock Lesnar and Shane McMahon, which obviously will decisively go to Brock Lesnar and another dominant performance, which could lead to the return of Goldberg. Like I said, watch the 2K17 trailer if you haven't seen it. There's no detail in there about the video game, but it teases the return of Goldberg. I really appreciate the history of Goldberg being looked at in the commercial as well, because you had the cops in the commercial called in, and then there's this big explosion and Goldberg just walks through the smoke. It's pretty amazing, and you got to check this out. I'll post it on my Facebook page and tweet it out for you on Twitter at JonathanClark1 if you haven't already seen it. And if you got the WWE Network, obviously they are profiling that a lot, and also they are talking about it a lot on WWE programming. Of course, Puff Daddy, the producer, the video game soundtrack, was recently on an edition of Raw prior to SummerSlam on the road to that event, so they are hyping it up. It's scheduled for release in October, and I'll be doing a video game review of 2K17. I usually get really excited about the yearly video game release for all video game platforms, and again, this year, Backwards Play is available on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 for fans of those video game consoles. So you even have something to be excited about. This game will be available on all video game platforms after I had thought it would be available on just next generation video game systems. It will be exclusive to next generation video game systems entirely over the next couple of months, but the thing is, this video game is available on all platforms, so it gives you the chance to play on all systems for fans of the retro systems like PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, so at least for now we don't have to upgrade, at least for the next year or so. Within the next year or so, I predict it will be available exclusively on next generation systems, but at least for now you get to enjoy the video game on all platforms, and I will be reviewing that one for you by at least mid-October, so make sure you check that one out on my YouTube channel, as you can check out the review of SummerSlam coming your way, the video show, on my YouTube channel at JonathanClark22, so if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Goldberg's return being hyped up, that is something to be excited about. I will be checking out all the fallout from SummerSlam 2016 over the next few days, and I will give you a report on my thoughts on SummerSlam in its entirety and the fallout from it, so make sure you check that out. Until then, I'm your host, Jonathan Clark, and I will talk to you again next week. Like what you hear? Tell us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.